Hey everyone. Sorry it's been a while since I've been on here teaching the word. I got swallowed by work, but I'm back and you'll be seeing more of me. Today I want to talk on the spirit of intimidation. So the spirit of intimidation is very real. It likes to function with the spirit of distraction, and oftentimes it's hard to recognize. And part of the reason it's tough to recognize is because when you're being intimidated, you are so caught up in the fact that, like, I'm being watched, I'm scared, I'm frozen, I can't move. Nehemiah, the whole book of Nehemiah deals with trying to move forward into what God has given you, an assignment, and yet dealing with this kind of intimidating force. And that intimidating force comes in many different ways. It can come through people, it can come through systems, it can come through regulatory bodies, it can come in many different ways. The thing about intimidation is that if you're not careful, it can disguise itself as caution. It can disguise itself as like trying to keep an eye out on everything. And before you know it, you're listening to so many voices and you're completely distracted from the assignment that God has given you. So Nehemiah had an assignment, and his assignment was to rebuild the wall that had broken down because they had all gone. They were in exile in Babylon, and then they were trying to collect themselves back, right? And when they were there, so that's what Ezra is about, them coming back, right? And while they're there, they're rebuilding the temple, right? And now Nehemiah, who's the king's cupbearer, is feeling like a burden, a sincere burden to rebuild the walls. And many of us are called to rebuild walls. You may be in a family that has not been functioning as a family and you're called to rebuild that. You might be someone who has a family that has never ever had anyone who's graduated from college, and that's a wall that you're rebuilding. You might be someone who's coming from a family that has not seen successful marriages, and so now you're rebuilding the wall of marriage. You might come from a family that is not Christian at all, and so now you're raising prayer altars and you're rebuilding that wall. So many of us are called to different assignments, and many times we're called to build. And so the thing that you need to know about building is anytime you are building, you're operating from the kingdom of light. And so therefore, you're going to find opposition. Oftentimes, the opposition you face is intimidation. They want you to stop the work that you're doing, freeze, turn around, and run. But I've got good news for you. When the Lord has given you an assignment, He always makes sure that He gives you the force, which is grace, to accompany you to complete the assignment. That's how you know that it's God. And the Bible talks about how His grace is sufficient for you. Paul says it. His grace is sufficient. His grace is sufficient. His grace is sufficient. That means that there is an allocation of grace that's designated just for you to complete the assignment. Okay? So if you go to God in prayer, you cry out unto the Lord, everything that you need has already in the heavens, it's designated for you. All you have to do is approach the throne room of grace. That's where you're going to obtain mercy. That's where you're going to obtain strength. That's where you're going to obtain all that you need to complete the assignment. So I just want to encourage somebody here today. I have dealt with the spirit of intimidation, and it's so difficult. It's difficult because at times you're wondering, you spend half of the time asking yourself if you actually have what it takes. Do I have the expertise? Do I have the knowledge? Am I really called? Imposter syndrome all over the place. It's real. It's very real. But I want you to know something. The Lord never, ever speaks outside of purpose. God doesn't just talk. Anytime that the Lord lays a burden, anytime that the Lord speaks into existence, there is purpose, there is intelligence, there is timing behind it. And so, this is what you need to know. If you ever get to a place where you're dealing with the spirit of intimidation, I'm going to give you some things to be able to deal with that spirit. Number one, you need to remember your assignment. Recall the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Remember that you've been called, and He that calls you will ensure that you are taken care of and that the provision is there for you. So remember your assignment. Number two, ask the Lord to give you some tools and some strategies for how to complete the assignment. Sometimes the tool, like Nehemiah, Nehemiah would build with one hand and fight with the other. So on one hand, you're building, on the other hand, you're fighting. Sometimes God will be like, in this season, just say nothing. And that's the hard one, when he's like, say nothing. Not that you can't see it. You see it, it's all around you, but he wants you to say nothing. And you got to obey, because that's the only way you're going to have victory. It's the only way you're going to have victory. So number one, remember your assignment. Number two, always remember to ask God for strategy. Okay? And then number three, you gotta be able to pray yourself through the other side of it. Now, if you don't know how to pray, and you're like, I don't have the ability to speak in tongues, or I can't pray for very long, you need to surround yourself with people who know how to pray. Because prayer is a muscle. And just like research shows that people who have friends who go to the gym and who work out, what starts to happen to them is they start also exhibiting a healthier lifestyle. The same thing is in the spiritual realm. When you hang out with people who are prayerful, who are prophetic, who love the Lord, who are passionate about him, it increases your faith and it builds your resilience in difficult situations. Surround yourself with people who love the Lord and who are prayerful people. Not just love the Lord in name, but love the Lord deep, like in the core. And then the last thing that I'll say is to write some promises down on a piece of paper or on cue cards to remind yourself of the promises of God. I will never leave you nor forsake you. I'm the God of the mountain and the God of the valley. He who began a good work will bring it to completion. I am El Shaddai. My grace is sufficient for you. I am the God who continues to provide. Whatever it takes to remind yourself of the truth then becomes embedded in your spirit. And now, when you're searching for answers, when you're feeling overwhelmed and you begin to pray, everything that you've read, memorized, seen all around your house, because you're posting these scriptures and these cues all around your house, begins to come alive within you. And then you begin to embody the word of God. The spirit of intimidation is real, but God, your God begins to come alive within you, and then you begin to embody the word of God. The spirit of intimidation is real, but God, your God is the highest authority in the heavens and the earth. And because he's the highest authority, and because he has made you a ruler, a king and priest, remember, you come from a royal priesthood, you're a king and a priest. You have authority to face the opposition that comes your way. So don't buck down. Don't be intimidated. Don't be afraid. Do not be scared. Because greater is he that is in you than he that's in the world. Hey, all right, guys. That's all I have to share for today from the book of Nehemiah. I pray that it's a blessing to you. Bye.